Hi boys and girls of legal smoking age. Today SteelJan's going to show you how to modify me, a simple child's toy, cheaply and easily into a variable voltage vaping monster. How's that? Show the camera on me. Roll the intro. Hey guys, it's SteelJan here. Here's the toy, and I've already removed these 4 little screws from the back. Oops, one more. 4 little screws from the back to save some time, and also because I needed to see inside of it to see if this was going to work. So we can take it out apart now and look at it. And here's what it looks like on the inside. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to gut out all of this and leave in the push button switch and the battery box. A good place that this particular type of thing will come in handy, although you may say this is huge, it's huge, is I'm thinking I have very bad trouble with my right arm and hand. Most days it doesn't work, and when it does work, it's not for long. A person with arthritic hands or some impairment of their hands, a big mod with an easy to push button is going to be a relief. Trust me on that. So, okay. So before I begin actually doing the mod, I want to say that if you do this, you're doing this at your own risk. I'm putting this video out for entertainment value only, so you can see how mods are made, and you can choose whether you would like to make your own or have someone make it for you. I don't make mods for people. I just do this to teach you. I want people to stop smoking and start vaping. You can do this. It takes some time, but you can do this. This is before, and this is after. And so my next part of this is where I spend the majority of my time. Actually, soldering wires onto things doesn't take any time at all, but this part takes time. I have to figure out where I want the module to go in the case, where I want the voltage display and the switch for the voltage display. And of course, we know where the atomizer battery connector goes. It goes here. Let me show you the layout that I have chosen for this PV. I'm going to put the voltage display here. I'm going to put the board upside down here. And I'm going to put the switch up here to turn on the LCD screen. Now, where I got the idea for the LCD being there, which is to me is a critical place, is critical to figure out the placement, is because when I'm vaping, let me take the, okay, let me show you on this. When I'm vaping, I want to be able to see the LCD display. Right, so I want to be able to see when I'm vaping, what voltage I'm at when I'm vaping. So I made a little sticker representing my LCD. I made it out of masking tape and started positioning it around on here. And this was the ideal placement that I came up with, where it's at here. Because, well, hang on a second. I can just slip this in. With this is an XL Clearomizer before anybody asks, and I don't have my little tip on it right now. So right here, I can still see the voltage display. And if I put the adjustment screw for the potentiometer, if I put the board so that the adjustment screw for the potentiometer is right around in here, then super. Now, the reason to have a voltage display in this mod, I don't think I covered that before, is that If you're just looking at the voltage off of the battery with no load on it, that's not the true voltage. It could be the same once you screw the atomizer on, or it might not. But if you can see the voltage while you're vaping, you know what it is. If you raise or lower it while you're vaping, it's not warm enough vape, I'm going to raise or lower it. You know, you raise or lower it to what you want while you're actually vaping. So, yeah, I want to be able to see that voltage display while I'm vaping. So it's going to be here. I'm going to make the holes for this, which is going to be another tedious task, and then we'll be back, solder, and start putting this puppy together. Okay, so here we are, and here are the holes finished. I've got holes for my switch, holes for my LCD voltage display, and a hole for the potentiometer. And so this switch is in the off position. So I want it to switch on, off and on from left to right, so it's going to go right here. Switch in. Switch in. And of course, I don't know if I've already said this, but I removed all of the stickers off of this box. I don't want anything on this that says Sesame Street or anything, because I am totally against children vaping. So I don't want this to look like a toy. So there's the switch in place. Now, here's the circuit board. And I have put, here's the circuit board, and I have put the wires in. It just goes in and out, right, of the connector, and there's only one way to put them, so you can't get them backwards. And on the flip side of the board, because I'm going to be working with this board upside down, I marked it for in and out, voltage in, voltage out. And I also marked each one of what's underneath here for plus and minus. Plus and minus. So I know which ones are what. So, back to this. I made this little plastic thing with a hole in it so I can fasten the board in. And I have chosen it to go this way. This way my in is close to the battery box, and my out is closest to the atomizer. Let's put in this LCD display. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use super glue. I'm just going to put some drops of super glue, like here, 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 here. Just some drops, individual drops. Now I'm going to place it. I found this rubber sink washer, big old faucet. Well, actually it's a garden hose washer. I thought it looked cool, so I melted the washer down into it just because I liked it. Not because it does anything. I think people who like to think they have a drip cup would count this as a drip cup then, because it does have like a 1/16 of an inch of indentation. So yeah, if you're into drippage, this would catch drippage. I'm not a dripper. I'm a gripper. No. And I may regret this later. But I'm going to just super glue this in so that I can show you this whole mod in real time. Ordinarily I would epoxy that, but that would take time, and that's not my intention with this video. I want to show you how to make this. That's what my intention is with this. So I'm going to put some super glue in here. Okay. At the bottom here we have the in. And these are the two in wires, positive and negative. So let's look at this circuit for a second. This is going to be where the positive terminal of the battery is. Hang on, let me get my dental tool again. This is going to be the positive terminal of the battery. So when I push the switch, let's put the switch back in here. When I push this switch, it's going to make contact right there. It's going to go up to here, and so this, right here, this little hole is where I want to put my positive wire, right there. So that's about good. Now I want to keep these wires as short as possible, but I also don't want to make any strain on them. I'm going to clip the wire. I'll strip it. Oops. I'm going to put it in the hole here. Okay. I'm going to bend it over in the back to make a nice solid mechanical connection. Now it's mechanically connected. There. Now we're going to deal with negative. Here's the negative input on our board, and here's the negative input from the battery. So we're going to connect this. Okay, good mechanical connection. Always mechanical. Then we solder. So now we're going to solder it. Put the iron on both things, the wire that you're soldering and the thing that it's soldering to, and then solder. Let the solder flow so that it's the whole thing. That's the entire battery hooked up to the end of this variable voltage board. Now let's deal with the positive. So we're done with that. That's done. Let's deal with it. Here comes the voltage out. Now this is going to be the voltage as we move the potentiometer screw on the front. It's going to vary the voltage coming out of these two wires. The thing is, we want this to go straight to the atomizer, straight to the atomizer, straight as we can go. Only take off about as much insulation as you think is going to fit in the atomizer hole. And this is why I told you to please buy the ones that have the hole in them, because now if you look down straight down into the atomizer, you've got that hole. And now I can poke the wire straight up through that hole. And that atomizer hole will hold all the good sizes of wire, like 18 or 20 gauge. 20 gauge is, like I told you, that's what you need for 3 amps. If you're going to be street legal, if you're going to be according to standards. So if you can see, can you see? Can you see? I poke it all the way through, you can see it. See the wire? Now I pull it back. I just want the wire part of it poking through. But I want that entire hole filled. I almost put that in my mouth. And I've told people over and over again, don't put the solder in your mouth, because it's got lead in it, folks. Okay, so there's my center solder joint. Now let's do the negative to the atomizer battery connector. This is just going to be a straightforward tack it across there. I'm going to leave quite a bit of exposed wire for this. Now for this one, I don't have any kind of mechanical connection. Well, I really didn't for the center hole either. But that's why you want as much good connection there as you can get. But I'll make sure I don't have any super glue on this. I want exposed metal up here. Yeah. I'm first going to put a solder blob on the outside of this till I can get it to stay. See? Like that. Now I'm going to tin what we call tinning this wire, which means I'm going to get this wire to accept solder on its own. Yeah, I really don't like this wire. Okay, now that we've got solder on both parts, now I'm going to tack this onto that. One thing about working with soldering is, like a chef, you have to get used to things that are uncomfortably hot to work with. Now I'm just melting the wire into the blob that I made on the atomizer battery connector. So the last thing we have to do is hook in our voltage display. We're going to hook in the voltage display. So how I'm going to do that is I'm going to run the negative of the voltage display to the negative voltage out on the board. See the importance of labeling these positive and negative. I've already made a little loop there. I'm just going to solder that on. Now I run the positive to one side of the switch. Now I run the positive of the other side of the other side of the switch. I want to hook to the plus side of my voltage. So I run a wire from the other side of the switch. So now we're going to attach the plus to the plus. And I'm going to do the trick where I put a little extra solder on this pen because I'm only using one hand here. And I'm going to put it on here. This is not an ideal solder joint, but if I had to, if I was doing this alone, I'd be doing it with my helping hands. Now we're finished. It's completed. That's it. But before I put batteries in it, I'm going to beep it out and make sure everything is all right. So take my multimeter. This one, of course, is from Radio Shack. I have a bunch of multimeters. Anyway, I take my multimeter, I put it over here on my ohms function, and I press this beeper button right there. Most multimeters have this continuity checker, and it means that when I put these two together, I hear an audible beep. Now, using the audible beep, I can check and make sure everything's okay on my PV. I know that this is my positive coming off my battery, and when this switch is pressed, which let's press the switch. Oops. This is so hard to do on camera. Hang on. Let me stand behind you. So I know this is my positive from my battery. And when the switch is pressed, how can I press the switch and everything? Okay, press the switch. It should come to my positive on my board, which is right here. And it does. It should not go to the negative. And it doesn't. Here's the negative off my battery. When my negative should just be connected to this negative. And it is. It should not go to this positive. And it doesn't. That's good. My positive should go to the center of my atomizer. It should not go to the outside. And it doesn't. The negative should go to the outside of my atomizer. And it does, but not to the inside. Of course, we already checked this, but it doesn't. This positive should be connected over here to this positive, but only when the switch is on underneath. Turn the switch on, and I should get a beep. And I do. Not to the other side, and I don't. Negative should go to this on my LCD, and it does. And not to the positive, and it doesn't. So, there you go. We're ringed out, and everything looks good. Let's put some batteries in it. Put the battery button in. And put the lid on. You'll see I made a little notch here to allow the circuit board to stick into that notch. And I didn't show you this on camera, but I put some super glue on that. I usually use epoxy, but I'm trying to go fast in this video, so I put a little dab of super glue right there to hold the board. I want that board good and steady. Now let's put batteries in it and cross our fingers. Negative up, positive up. Put the lid on it and screw it down. We're nearing the moment of truth. See if our voltage display works. .1 volts. So let's adjust that down. Now I'm feeling the case here to see if I feel any warmth or anything like that. Oops, that's going up. It's opposite intuitive. Okay, 4.10. That looks pretty good. Let's leave it at 4.10. Now let's put this cartomizer on it and see how she vapes. Now before I put this near my mouth, I want to press it out here. And yes, I hear sizzle. Hee success. That's it. She works like a champ. All that's left is to epoxy some things in and put the screws in the back, and we're done. One more thing on this, you may say, but it doesn't have an on-off switch for the PV. And you would be right. That's because I didn't want one. This is going to be a tabletop vape. It's heavy on the bottom due to the batteries and sits there. But if you wanted an on-off switch, I will show you how I would do an on-off switch on this. I wouldn't put a switch in it. I'd drill a hole straight through here and use a plastic or nylon screw and put it right through there. And that way this button couldn't be depressed. Now, one idea that I was thinking about is if you took a nylon screw and you made a hole here and you put that through for your on-off switch, but then you dangled it from like a little pretty chain or something fancy, or made a Velcro thing for it to stick, you could file the end of it down into a screwdriver so that the little thing would not only double as an on-off switch, because you could put it in here to stop this from pressing, but you could use it to adjust your voltage. So there you have it, the easiest way I know of to make a variable voltage mod with an Elmo toy. Happy vaping. Hang on just a second. Quick update. I've been vaping this for a couple of days while I've been editing the video, and it's really been working well. I wanted to show you that I made a little button for the potentiometer so that I can now adjust the voltage up and down while I'm vaping. Really nice. So yeah, hey, and if you get a chance, go over to check out vapebans.com and see how you can keep vaping legal in the United States. So here's from the Elmo mod and SteelJan, the SteelJan out. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. SteelJan.